up?
Ah, there we go. That's the one we want.
Hey,
All right.
it's a
Hey,
little bit of a different show tonight.
yeah, it's just you and me, man. Just you and me. Yeah. So anybody who's out there, if this is your first time, give us plenty of feedback. And I always feel cheesy whenever I say this, but smash that like button type stuff and subscribe, follow. Uh,
Slay it. It is
yeah.
the enemy.
And and if you're out there, go ahead put stuff in the comments. We love interacting with people because it lets us know that we're not just talking out into the void,
We will share your
etc.
comments live.
Mm, yes, yes, we
E-
will.
even even the comments that are my mom trying to figure out how to get the sound to work.
How does the sound work on this device? Well, uh...
I'm a little busy. I can't help with that.
All right, yeah, we're gonna be talking about a few things, local politics, and then also some things we see or been seen around. So yeah,
There's a lot
but
going on right now. We got a lot of events. Easter's around the corner.
oh yeah,
Uh, there's transgenders that need attacked, and
apparently,
uh,
jeez.
I didn't know they were such a problem, but apparently, big problem. I
Yes,
didn't know. No, nobody told me.
yep.
Um, so okay, we got our sponsor for our events. That
Mhm.
is Dude Smell This.
Dude, smell this. Yes, there you go. You
Dude,
got
smell
it.
this. Hayesville, Kansas. They are our event sponsor for this week and have been for the last few weeks. They do CBD products, Delta 8 type stuff, lotions, gummy bears, tonics, whatever version of it that you're into. Check them out. Yeah, they
Yeah,
got an online store.
and
That's
that
Dude Smell This,
do smell this LLC in
LLC.com.
Hayesville, Kansas. And to start off, since they're sponsoring the events, we'll move on to the events of our community. This weekend, this Friday, is the Haymakers and Weston Wilkerson. This is being put on by the Tumbleweed Festival. This is basically a fundraiser to help the festival because it is a non-profit organization. Nobody's making money except for basically the sound techs and the artists, which are the ones that should be. But the Tumbleweed Festival tries to bring music and entertainment out here. There is a 50-50 raffle. There's going to be grass-fed beef bundles, home stereo speakers, bison meat bundles, and GCCCCCC. I always have to add extra C's to that.
Extra
Endowment,
C's, all the
extra
C's.
C's. Endowment auction tickets. But yeah, you can get your tickets. There is in this flyer, if you are real fast, you might be able to use that QR code there at the bottom. Otherwise, go to the Tumbleweed Festival Facebook page, website, and you can get that information. So, yeah, and actually tonight they're at the Hidden Trail Brewery. So if you go there tonight, you can pick up some tickets or some raffle tickets to the event. It's $50 for one person, 80 for two, and it's at the Moonlight Harvest, which is way north on Schmelka. So it should be some good times. Yeah. And next up,
All right. We got Jekyll and Hyde, the Garden City High School. That's gonna be going on March 31st through April 2nd. Uh,
so
yeah, Jekyll and Hyde at the
Fridays.
high school.
So
They
Friday, Saturday,
always,
Sunday.
yeah, they always put on good productions. If you've never been to one of the high school plays, their director's really passionate about
Yeah,
doing a good job, making good sets, and
and
I've always had fun
yeah,
when
and
I've
this is
had
apparently
friends
some
or family
form of
out there.
a. I guess it's the Jekyll. It's based on the Jekyll and Hyde Broadway
Oh, okay.
musical. So is my
Okay.
understanding. So should be some good
Awesome.
times.
Eh,
And then there's always Food Truck Fridays, which you can go to Stevens Park and enjoy that from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. this Friday. So it's getting a food truck. I always enjoy Food Truck Fridays.
We went last week. I got the people that were at the brewery Bur, Los
Los
Churros. Is that?
Los Muertos.
I
It's
don't
Los
remember.
Churros. Yeah, Los Muertos. No, Los Churros. I think. Yeah, I think
uh,
you're right on that.
the birria tacos that they do are phenomenal.
Oh,
Dogs are joining always.
you know, I thought mine. I'm having a huge pack dynamic shift at my house, and big old man Oscar, who's got the cone of shame on right now. He's right there behind me. But I thought he was going to. He's just like going. Oh, you are hungry. You're just going into every food bowl. Thought he was going to be the noisy one, but apparently your dogs beat him to it. All right.
Yeah, yeah. At my house, somebody just has to come home, and they're just excited to greet them.
Yes. Oh yeah. All right. And
Okay,
then
so Food Truck Fridays. Check them out. It's awesome.
yep. And then there's a bunch of Easter stuff. I only was able to find a few different things, but I'm sure there's more out there, and I'm sorry if I missed any. We have the Salvation Army is doing an extravaganza. It's a family. Let's see. There it is. Unfortunately, it's a little blurry. Couldn't find a higher resolution picture there, but it's 5 to 7 on Friday. Free family event will include egg hunt, which starts at 6 p.m. Win a filled Easter basket, games, food for the first 100 people, and then there's also a another Easter event. This one is the seventh annual Photos with the Easter Bunny, which will be at Central Cup, and that will be the times are hard to read there, but it's March 30th or sorry, April 1st. They already did the March dates. April 1st from 2 to 7, and then April 2nd from looks like 10 to 4 p.m.
10 to
So
4, yeah.
yeah, so keep an eye on that, and then that is $15 for a full resolution digital download with a print release, and this is sponsored by G. Robertson Photography. And event company of Garden City. So those are going on. I do believe there is an adult Easter thing, but I didn't. So you're just going to have to look that one up. I couldn't quite get all the information in time for tonight's show. And then
The last time I did the adult Easter egg hunt, I very quickly realized that I am not the type of adult that should be running once a year.
which goes into the next
So,
to the next event actually. Which the Outrun Childhood Obesity event, which is
it's
the
too late for me.
I love this run. I used to do this back when I was running. Uh, I believe actually this one was my first half marathon. It was my one of I did a 5K, a 10K, and then one year I did the half marathon with this one. It's been going on for a long time. I haven't been running for a few years, so don't expect to see me there this time around. But that one is being put on by the rec department. It looks like it's going to be done at Charles Peebles Complex at 9 a.m. I think its registration start is 8 a.m. The run starts at 9, so just get there nice and early, and it should be a good time. There's a 2-mile walk, a 5K, 10K, and half marathon. And that is April 1st is when that is. So, all right.
I will be there in
You
spirit.
will be there. And once again, these events were brought to us by you.
Dude, smell this. Did
I love
you
that
ever
name.
watch that show? Did you ever watch that show, Hey Dude, growing up?
Oh God, yeah.
Like,
Oh, I didn't
that's what
watch
it
it a
reminds me of.
lot, but I remember
Hey
it.
dude, smell
Smell
this.
this. LLC, yeah. And what is it all he gives us? He does what types of
CBD.
things? CBDs. Okay.
CBD. Everything from like joint versions and edibles and gummies and lotions and yeah.
Okay.
So any version you prefer to take your CBD, he's got an option for it.
Awesome.
All perfectly
Awesome.
legal.
Yeah.
It should all be perfectly legal, but he keeps it on the perfectly legal side of things.
Right. So, yeah, which for
All right.
Kansas versus across the border. It
So,
is
Whitney,
Kansas legal.
you put some work in today's show. I'm excited to do this with you.
Oh.
What,
Don't get it.
what
Don't
first?
get people too excited.
No. I'm excited to see what topics you chose and to see what kind of conversations we develop out of it.
Usually it's topics that are making me angry.
Exactly. And for
Generally.
once, it's not just me. I mean, we have a whole
Right.
segment called Super Mad, dedicated to
Right.
me.
Yeah. Well, you were already upset. What was it? You were talking about campus road work, not.
Yeah. Well, this whole show started because I was angry. I was angry about Troy Unruh not
Yep.
being in jail. But I digress. I want
Yeah.
you to drive tonight. I will look
Oh,
forward to
okay.
your topics.
Well, you
I'm
were
right
talking
behind you
about
with you.
you were earlier. You and I were chatting, and you were complaining about not seeing people working on the what was it, Campus Street,
Yes.
Campus
Yes. What is
Campus
this?
Ave.
I
Well,
was on my lunch break and I had to go to GameStop because that's what you do on your lunch break.
right. Which,
And
uh,
yeah,
go ahead.
no workers there. Nobody was working.
Which
Why? You have to go 20 miles an hour in a 40.
I will say, I did used to work for the city, so I understand how they get divided, and sometimes weird things come up, and they just get pulled from every other project to go do this other project, uh, for whatever reason. Speaking of, there was probably a couple. Well, there is that whole intersection at 156 and Jenny Barker with the lights and everything, which with the state and everything, they probably have
Wait.
certain
What
timelines.
happened on Jenny Barker now?
Well, that's just. I think some people might have gotten pulled to the Jenny Barker lights that are getting put up
To
now.
the stop signs. We
To
don't
the
want them to be stop signs anymore.
Correct, because yeah, I think what was it that I looked that up, and I think 2016 we passed the tax to pay for that project and also the fire station, and then 2017 is when the taxes actually started getting collected, and I believe they've started breaking ground on the fire station. If somebody's in the chat, oh, it looks like there is a comment in the chat. If somebody's there,
The
oh,
wharfs
the
outnumber you tonight.
oh no, I'm under attack. Release my ink. No, I don't have an ink. Oh no. The yeah. So, but there. Yeah. So it just takes a while for those types of things, and I understand like
Sure.
that's like a three. That's what is it? States, county, and
And
city.
I'm just
Three
saying, it
different
doesn't go
bureaucracies.
unnoticed that we mentioned there's still stop signs on the show. And then
I
what? 2 shows later, we got construction, baby.
I
I'm
will
just saying,
say, I
we
will
got some
have to say
power.
this though. I like the idea. I don't think bureaucracy between three separate organizations can get that 2 days fast.
I, I'm pretty sure I learned that cause equals correlation. That's a thing, right?
Yeah. Oh man,
So
if three different like bureaucratic organizations can put something together in 2 days,
I'm just saying,
I would
we
be
still have construction
flabbergasted.
going on campus,
Yes,
and
but
nobody's working on it. But that fucking bike lane happened like overnight.
well, the bike
Overnight.
lanes really. I have issues with the
They
bike lane. Like,
reorganized 2 miles of road in a week,
well, they didn't
and
do
we
it in a
can't get
week,
this
but
finished. This intersection finished. I don't even
yeah.
know what they're doing in this intersection.
My problem with the bike lane is they've shown more and more that you actually have to have like a concrete like divider for safety, and I don't know if that's planned for the future or not, but I don't feel safe on a bike lane until there's like at least some like little concrete thing to cause people to go, oh yeah, I shouldn't be driving here where people bike. They show that
The
drastic,
bikes
like
got
massively
40%
drops.
of Campus Street, so I
Well,
think it's the
here's
safest place
I
to
used
bike in all of Garden City.
it. No, I'd say it's still the most dangerous because until you put that divider, they show over and over those types of locations just become an accident-prone location. And the other problem is, I used to commute all the time back when I was like trying to be like earth conscious and everything and biking to the zoo when I worked there and back. The one thing I have to say is those bike lanes are damn near worthless because all they do is turn into parking. It has your
Right,
biker just trying
right.
to dodge the cars. So I'd like some like actual designated, physically impossible to get your car over, or not necessarily
Uh,
physically impossible, but
I'd like to see a dozen people angry about how the bike lane operates because I don't think
yeah,
I've ever seen a dozen people on a bike on campus.
I have because the bike club does it all the time. They're going all over the place though. But anyway, yeah. But the other thing that I think that is funny with how with what happened with all the my thought on why you didn't see anybody on the campus avenue projects is because apparently there's a bunch of power outage and there was a massive
Yeah.
loss of traffic on 156 in Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah, he
basically
was all
from
shut
the
down for a while.
basically from the bypass all the way to campus, or maybe like no, it was one block before campus, because I used that. I planned on going to Staples that day to get some stuff printed off, and it turns out there was
The one
a
day somebody goes to Staples.
right. Exactly. That was my one day. I was going to spend money, be part of the capitalist system. But then, yeah, apparently one of the trash jumps guys left his arms up and just took out all the lights in between point A and point B. Like, it's
What?
multiple. So
Like
that's
the
what
street
that
lights?
and the power cables and everything in between all that. Yeah.
Oh
So if you lost
no.
power on Monday, that's probably why. If you're in the northeast section of town, yeah.
What a weird way to find out you got fired.
Yeah, I'm like somebody has lost their job, 100%. But yeah, apparently some guy had his arms up and
You,
just. But I wish I could say
hey,
that that's the first time
we're,
I've heard about this.
we're
This
gonna
is like
need
the
you to pee
third.
in this cup, my friend.
Yeah. That is the like I think that's the third time I've heard of. This is the worst by far of somebody doing that. I've heard of like them leaving them up and like digital oh, my camera's acting weird. But they'd leave them up. Every time I do that, I turn blue. Why? What? Blue. Activate Smurf mode. Anyway, uh the yeah, it's the worst I've heard about it. I've heard of data cables like they left them up and then the data cable kind of like got cut between a building or here and there, but usually it's or I've heard of like some small subdivisions losing a few because they left them up while going through like an alleyway that had a low line power or
So
phone
they
lines.
literally didn't notice for multiple
But this,
lamps
yeah.
and
And the thing
wires.
is, this guy, like those, okay, I get it. It's just like a little wire, and then he hit it, wouldn't
Sure.
have noticed. This one was, he was taking out street lights, like massive chunks of metal he had to be hitting for how many, I don't know who did it, obviously, but
Oh, look at
yeah.
all those sparks behind me. That's crazy.
What's going on, guys? Oh, crap. Yeah,
Ooh, that's Nickelback.
exactly.
Turn that up.
Fucking Nickelback. Oh
I
yeah, so
mean,
that's apparently that. So if anybody was wondering what the hell happened over there, that's what it was.
that's wild.
Yep.
All right. So what's going on beyond Garden City?
So well, there's some bad news happening. Well, actually, so, let's start with the good news. Kinda. It's weird. Apparently, democracy is unimportant. Democracy doesn't matter because we did this vote for yes and no, and vast majority of Kansans said nope to that abortion ban here
And
in
they
Kansas.
immediately dropped it, right?
Yeah, totally. They dropped it, left it alone, or they just when one guy died, they made this the youngest state congressman uh, by just appointing him because apparently there's a rule where they added a rule where the party gets to choose the replacement instead of doing like a special election or something. So they just put this guy who is a major. He's like an up and coming Republican, and now he's the youngest congressman. He's not the youngest elected one, but he's the youngest state congressman in Kansas. And now then he decided to institute or bring in a new bill trying to ban abortion. But luckily, the courts currently are basically giving the finger to they're just the court systems are like going nope, that's against our state constitution, to both the attorney general and some of these laws that they're still trying to push for the abortion for this, yeah, to basically remove
Because,
abortion. But
democracy.
yeah, yeah. It's like
Uh,
the people don't want it, but we do, and we're a minority of rich people, so yeah.
and that's why it's super important to ask all of your representatives, do you
Yes.
represent yourself? Or do
Or
you
do you
represent the will of your people?
exactly. See, I'm fine with like there's a saying that I always had. Uh-oh. We lost Zach.
Uh-oh.
Camera
What
down, man
happened?
down. All right, he'll be back here shortly. You can hear him at least.
Oh,
He's the
do I
omniscient
have
voice in the
audio?
background.
My,
Yeah, you have
my
audio.
camera, my camera decided it needed an update. It just
Is it Logitech? I hate Logitech. Anyway,
it is Logitech.
when I game, the guys that I game with, every time something goes wrong, they all now know to say it because I say it so much while gaming because I had all Logitech stuff. I stopped buying Logitech because I'd always be like fucking Logitech because they
They
would
got
always
bought
fail.
out and have been pretty bad ever since. But
Yep.
I've had this camera a long time, so it might just be dying on me.
Uh oh.
I don't
Hopefully not.
know.
Well,
I guess
we'll
I'm
hopefully
gonna
get you back.
you
You work on
continue on the
that.
topic, and
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. Maybe the old on and off again shall fix it. But yeah. Uh oh. He's gone. He's gone. I have control. Oh, Smurf mode. I have control of the show. So yeah. So oh, here he comes back. Let's see. Is he back? He's back. Ye old on and off
And
again method.
clearly, it's running so much better, and that's why it needed the update. So
Yep.
you
Awesome.
know
There it is.
that's
So
Logic Tech.
where were we? We were talking. Yeah, Oh God, Logitech. I have so many curses, so many games lost because it randomly decided to. Never mind. This is a different rant. Back to abortion rights in Kansas. So yeah, it's basically the courts are upholding because there is a right to your medical stuff being your medical stuff, and the state and everybody else cannot control that, even if you're a woman. Enter 1940s something something dark
Dum
side
dum
something something.
dum.
Um, so yeah, so right now I guess the courts are just upholding that. So we will not expect anything too much in the near future.
Well,
Basically,
and
they're gonna have to.
their their
They're
goal,
gonna.
they're always gonna claw for all of it.
Yeah.
But in that clawing, they're gonna take a little nick, and they're gonna take
Yep.
a little nick, and they're gonna take a little nick,
Well,
and
they might
next thing
try
you
to do.
know, it's 1720.
Yep. They might try to do what they tried to do with the education system. What was it like? 2017 ish, give or take, where they kept basically they kept reducing the amount of money, at least as far as with consideration of inflation, towards education, and
Hmm.
the anyway they will shoot. Where did I just got distracted. Dang you,
Squirrel.
ADHD squirrel. Um, oh, back in 2017-ish, give or take a year, they basically tried to change the Kansas Constitution to basically get rid of the word adequate when it talked about giving the Kansans adequate education, because the legislature was getting found to be so underfunding the education system that it was illegally against the Constitution. So they were like, "Yeah, we'll just change the Constitution." So don't be surprised if they try that again. Um,
Oh yeah, that's their ultimate goal because it's so much harder to get that to change from there. Uh,
yes. And
but even if they got something through, it can be vetoed,
right,
right?
yes, yeah. Well, no, if it's a change in the Constitution, but the thing is, a change in the Constitution will have to go to a popular vote.
Well, yeah,
So,
always on
however,
that
they
end.
might not try that because they're finding out every time they do that, they lose.
Oh well, I knew that even after that first vote,
Oh,
it's gonna be in there in some fashion every time. It's just gonna be a different word salad for it.
right. Yeah, I got and we got a question statement from Greg here. Why is it easier to get into a school than a government building? Because yeah, Lord knows. Well, I got a couple of reasons why. Uh,
Because shall not be infringed. That's why.
yeah, yeah. There's there's just too many people going in and out of a school. It makes it real difficult, and you end up with people that end up being complacent because if you have 5,000 people going in and out of a building, like I don't know, I'm throwing a number out there, versus I don't know 100, you're going to become more complacent to pause and say that to everybody, and then, but also there's yeah, they don't feel to secure. Yeah, they want to protect themselves is one potential issue with the situation. But the thing is, there's always going to be an area that's the weakest point, and so yeah, basically, yeah. So basically, I'm saying that could be potentially be a thing.
They choose self-preservation always.
There is always the thing where the attacks will always go towards the weakest point. So right now it is schools, and it's super easy, relatively speaking. So yeah, there, but that at least the
And I
politicians
don't know
who
if
are the
you
ones
heard
who
or
get to
not, but
set up that
one
security.
trans person did it, so that's the problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
Or
gonna
you can
forget
twist
about
that.
99.9% of all shooters being white adolescent males.
Yeah,
Um,
and well, here's the thing. And also don't forget, 99% are like just male white people.
yeah,
So technically,
right.
in this situation, we still have a male white person. It
Yeah,
still fits
yeah,
in that demographic
yeah.
situation. There is some stories coming out about that with regards to that shooting, as to the why, which I personally don't like to uh, glorify the person who did the shooting because of reasons, but there
Manifestors are
is
important though because it gives you a eye into what created that type of mindset.
there is that school apparently had, and it would have been when this person, the shooter, went there, but they did have a massive sexual assault issue going on. No,
Mm.
I don't know whether or not that person was one of the victims or not, but we do know that there was a pastor who was in charge of youth programs for a big swath of time, and then he was accused, and then they kept him going in that role for another 2 years, and then they finally kicked him out. And this person would have been overlapped with that time frame that person was there, so there could have been that, and they were very much during the early 2000s protecting the pastor for a while, quite a while. So there could be some animosity, but it's obviously misdirected animosity because
Oh yeah, absolutely. By no
those
means are
nine-year-olds
we
had nothing
condoning
to do
that,
with that.
but violence is never the answer, especially in a situation like that. But
Exactly.
uh, there are ways to prevent these sorts of things. Gun control of some sort would be another. Universal background checks, just as a minimum. I don't understand why we can't even pass that much. It is like 70% in polls, possibly even higher. I don't know. I'm making that
Yeah,
up. I
it's
know it's I know it is extremely popular amongst everybody on universal background checks, but we can't even pass the bare minimum where we all agree,
yep,
and and we're just going to do the cycle of we're going to talk about it, we're going to argue with people who say now is not the time, and then we're going to say when is the time, and then we're going to do that back and forth dance until one of us forgets about it first, which is going to be us because they forgot about it the moment the conversation ended.
yeah, yep,
Except for this one time where it fits their narrative of the person they want to be dangerous, and all of a sudden, right wing pundits have a lot to say about this particular shooting.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. There's
Uh,
go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, speaking of poor school control and superintendents and leaderships not
Oh, you
being
want to
in
jump to there?
charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. First, you know what? Let's play this little TikTok and let's play a little game with it. Let's let's see here. Adding this to the stream here. Let's put our finger up every time we've witnessed something in our district that might go in line with this scenario. Cause, uh-oh.
Let's see. You put your finger up for everyone. You paid so
Oh, you
much
want me to
attention
do
to
this?
this.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. All right. Let me. Is there a way to shrink the? Here, let me go down here. No, nah. I like.
Who's
Yeah,
driving here?
I'm driving. I like it this way. I'll still put my finger
All
up,
right.
but I like you on
All
camera,
right.
sir. All right. I don't want to be
Trusted
the only
advocate.
one. Okay. So yeah,
We don't
I'm
know
gonna
what we're doing, folks. This is
During
Kent's
professors
job.
right. Who put me in charge? Why, Bear? All right, here we go.
During Professor Zeitgeist's live stream last night, me and Allie Collins briefly started down a path of the need to identify patterns that we've noticed in school districts that are being attacked by anti-public education forces. And this is necessary so we can help other people recognize the activity before it becomes entrenched. So I've made a generalized list based on things that I've seen here in Colorado Springs and heard about in school districts across the country. So number one is the initial outrage. This is parental appearances at school board meetings, expressing strong emotions about various contentious issues, reflecting ideas seen in national conversations.
Wait a minute. National conversations being brought to a local school board. Did that happen here? Couldn't
A
have been the
lot.
COVID restrictions, and then now suddenly all them LGBTQ are going to infect our
And
children's brains.
it definitely didn't inspire multiple board members to run.
Yep. Which we'll let's go to the next one. Do 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 do.
Number two is organization and national influence. This is the formation of parents groups with shared messaging, possibly influenced by larger national organizations advocating for similar ideas, like the Heritage Foundation and Moms for Liberty.
1776. 1776.
Check.
I'm like, I don't know if they got money from them or not, but I do know that their rhetoric matched up almost exactly with the national 1776 for the trio that ran in the last board
Even
election.
shared the emblem at one point.
Yeah, they did.
Completely
but it was
denied.
completely. Yeah, what do you mean? I mean, we just.
Your country was founded.
Well, it's the year our country was founded. Never mind, we picked the exact
dude,
logo of the
yeah.
1776 organization while also espousing all of the things that the 1776 organization stated. All right, there's two.
Number three is an anti-teachers union sentiment. This would be a notable emergence of opposition to teachers unions, criticizing their role in the education system. Number four.
So I'm not sure about.
Never seen a union.
As I'll say, the union thing. However, we do see a lot of rhetoric discussing about the expertise of our teachers at the school boards over and over again. I mean, I'm going to say her name wrong. I always do. Nanaga, right?
Nanaga.
Yeah, okay, I said it right. Yes. She keeps having to defend the teachers because she's a long-acting board member from before, and she keeps having to defend them because the statements that are made and the teachers are noticing, because I hear it all the time, and that's also why teachers keep having to come to the meetings to express their emotions, because they are basically saying that they're not as important.
Is a pro-charter school sentiment and friendly lawyer involvement. This is a prevailing inclination towards charter schools among some community members and board members, often supported by legal specialists.
That one I've heard off the record a number of people say, and also Bob Lewis, who
a legal specialist
who also is supportive of the trio. They all kind of intermingle. Okay, I'm going to answer Greg's question after this, because once we go through the whole 2.5 minutes of this little thing. But I have an answer for you, Greg. Here's his question real quick. Why wasn't the last board meeting televised? I did check an answer because I also was curious on the same thing. Here we go.
5 is the involvement of local church congregations. This is direct participation of local church congregations, and they're frequently motivated by politically active Christian nationalist pastors.
I have a church in mind that I saw with naming the 3 board members, as well as a couple other political people, which technically that's illegal. What was that?
There's a church influence in every aspect of government in our area.
Right, but it's technically illegal for a church to actually state a person, and they had signs for individuals to vote for, which is illegal. They can lose their tax exempt status for doing that.
Right.
But then there's a very large church in our community that did that, especially for the 3, and they were making comments on who to vote for in their thing. So that's another one that we're ticking off.
Number 6 is escalating conflict and potentially violent third-party involvement.
Yeah.
So as the debates intensify between anti and pro-public education parents groups, you'll see the addition of militia-like or potentially violent organizations like the Proud Boys or FEC United. And their role is to intimidate or instigate further conflict. Number 7.
Thank the gods old and new we're out here in southwest Kansas, because I don't think we're going to run into that per se. Knocking on wood.
They don't
don't
have
come
to
out
come
here.
out. I sat in a legislative coffee with a room full of white people twice where racist comments were made and nobody reacted. Twice. They don't have to send Proud Boys out here.
Yeah.
We're already living what they have for a dream.
Yep. So, yep.
7, school boards focusing on district performance. So
District
school
performance.
boards and officials will all of a sudden start emphasizing the successes of their district and sidestep the issues that are causing the outrage. Number 8.
So, yeah, right now I'm seeing a lot of rhetoric like this in the board meetings, because teachers and things are getting very upset because of various rules and policies that are getting put in place that are basically negating free speech, and mostly they're honest. I'm just going to flat out say they're targeting LGBTQ. They're targeting anything that has a rainbow on it. That's what they're targeting. They're not targeting religions or anything like that. They're just targeting people for existing and not being a straight person. That's basically it. All these policies are quite honestly just targeting those. But then they go and say, "Oh, look, we're doing good here and here." Great. How long will that last?
Doesn't negate
8,
that.
marginalized communities start to be held responsible.
Nope.
So members of marginalized communities will start to be criticized for their reactions to the outrage, while the creators of the outrage will remain unaccountable.
I don't know. I don't think that's happened yet.
That one hasn't happened yet? Yes, I know, right? All those. What did the woman say? She said, "The Mexican culture." Like,
right.
So she's
about
blaming
how they teach in Mexico.
Yeah, to talk about a failure rate at our schools, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit too.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
just discussing that whole situation, and then also, like, even now I'm hearing the rhetoric where they're talking about, well, all these people just need to calm down. They just can't express their gayness, basically. And I'm like, you're flat out attacking them. They're allowed to be upset. Like, no, not me. But yeah, as soon as I heard that one, I also thought about that woman at the coffee. Like, let's blame the marginalized communities. So they're blaming, basically, they're blaming migrants, and then they're
which means that propaganda is spreading exactly as planned.
Exactly.
I lost count where we're at. I think we're at 5.
No,
no,
we have all, but we've hit but the violent outburst one. Everything but Proud Boys showing up to instigate the fighting.
Right.
Number 9 is that school board members will start flaunting the law. Certain school board members will start to disregard legal and ethical guidelines, start to engage in discriminatory actions, or ignoring the separation of church and state.
How many times have we brought up church multiple times this year in the district? And also, wasn't one of the board members literally asked Glinda to commit fraud?
Right.
So that they could have one policy versus another, just flat out ignoring the law with regards to COVID policy.
I'm completely aware there's a camera and a microphone on me, and I'm going to say this.
I'm going to ask you to make one policy that will give to the feds so they give us money, and then enact another policy at our thing. That's legal, right? Yeah. And then, and also multiple times, I'm thinking about the anti-bullying rules when they were discussing that. They have to put in minority groups. So that's part of the federal guidelines. They will lose funding. They were trying to pull that out because everyone can get bullied. Yes, but these groups are named because they are over abundantly targeted for the bullying. So just because, it just shouldn't happen. Then stop using slurs when talking about somebody in the LGBTQ. Stop using slurs when you're talking about a Hispanic person. Stop using slurs. If you use it, that should be punishable. That's all those rules were saying, but they were literally over the summer trying to remove that clause out as best they could, but they ended up failing, thankfully.
And then number 10 is the dismissal of reasonable voices. This is the sideline and a removal of reasonable individuals in school boards and within district staff, which will then create an environment of fear and intimidation. These are some of the common patterns that I've seen in Colorado Springs and around the country. And if you can start recognizing these would be early indicators that something's going on within your school district and give you an opportunity to act.
So, that said, how much have we paid out in staff that have had?
I mean, yeah, we've paid out. We've had board members just quit, up and
Yep.
quit. We've had teachers
Pushed out due to stress.
Come and teach for a season and then are out.
Especially, but this year we're having a lot. I mean, they've paid what, $450,000 in settlement fees to just get rid of people.
Yep.
My understanding, Glenda was getting pushed out long before she actually resigned. Like, she was getting taken off
Yes.
of boards. She was getting taken off of all her normal duties that she's been doing. She's been in the district for decades. But they kept pulling away. And now we're losing, what is it? We're losing, we're now losing the transportation coordinator.
And I have no doubt that the only reason Dana's still there is because they don't get to pick on her as much because of her status in the community.
Yeah, well,
I don't think a normal person that got voted in, I think they would have been ran off by now. That's
Well,
what has happened.
I think I don't know for sure. I think she's friends with them outside, so, but I don't think she's
Because of her status in the community.
Yeah. I can agree with that statement. Yeah, 100%. So now we have oh man, so many resignations. But the big ones, we're losing another high-ranking resignation. We knew it before. It was a rumor. Now it's confirmed. It's in the agenda for next
Did you ever
agenda.
answer Greg's question?
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, speaking of agendas,
Squirrel?
Why wasn't the board meeting televised? I checked into this. Normally, this Thursday one that's later in the month is not. It is sometimes, but generally it's not because it usually is shorter and not covering much. So that's why. The last one was not televised. The sixth one, and else this one coming up, which the next one is February. I want to say
should show that's a shitty excuse.
I was looking through, and historically it checks out. Like, it's nothing new. That is true. Sometimes it does pop up, sometimes it doesn't. But
Right.
or most of the time it doesn't.
Historically, we didn't have a board that had nefarious intent and could utilize that historic practice.
Yeah.
To
Well,
take
we'll find out.
advantage
We'll find
and
out if anything
pass
was in the
policy.
minute. Yeah, we'll find out if anything's in the minutes of the next meeting. They don't have the minutes out from the meeting on the 23rd, but there really wasn't much. They basically just covered. The only thing I could really see is just
That's
budget
kinda like
stuff,
saying,
and then
that's kind of like saying we'll find out what happened from the police report.
I
I mean, maybe.
unfortunately,
on-
that's
on
all we
who's
go
at
by.
fault.
Yeah, so the only way we'll be able to get that is if we actually go to each of those meetings, which this is why this stuff is very tough because I mean we don't have everybody to do that. So the thing is, with all of that said, we have multiple staff members that have left. I'm sorry, but Glenda, I said it before and I'll say it again. I do not know a staff person who actually does not like her. Like, I'm sure there's some out there, but everybody that I know that I respect, and I respect all of them, dozens and dozens consider her a great and motivational leader. Usually they post a recap of the meeting. Yes, the recap of the meeting is the minutes, and usually they post it right before the next meeting. So on the 4th, we should see what the minutes are for this last meeting. They did cover which actually I was surprised. So we'll see what they say. Because there's a piece of curriculum which has to do with, usually is against a lot of what is nationally being touted right now, which is social and emotional learning or whatever it is. Is it social? Yeah. Anyway, basically just teaching kids to understand and respect their own emotions. That was on this last agenda. they're going to discuss something from a certain curriculum that focuses on that. As far as I could tell, it was fine, but yeah, it was called Capturing Kids' Hearts. That's what it's called. Recommendation. So if you want to look it up, Capturing Kids' Hearts is what they were. That was the recommendation. We'll find out what the board said about it. It just basically. However, emotional learning is now on the national agenda by Moms for Liberty and a few of these other organizations. That it's bad. Kids shouldn't understand their emotions. So we got to watch out for that type of stuff going on.
Mary
Highly
Carlin.
regarded all over the heck. Yeah, she is.
I've never heard a negative word about her.
Yeah. There she is.
And we are a show where people like to give us the negative words.
Yes. She I 100%, except I don't think she wanted to move. That's the thing. But I 100%
Right.
think that she will fall on her feet from this situation. But well, they had to give her a freaking parachute for the year because they're the ones who effed up. You don't f up that bad and then have to pay out so easily. But she didn't want to fight too much. I'm guessing she just wanted to move on. That would be my guess. I cannot confirm any of that, but she's so highly respected. She could just get a job somewhere else if she so chose. Which goes into the current. So the rumor mill. This is all rumor mill. However, I'm hearing it from dozens and dozens of individuals. We'll just say individuals. We have more resignations on the way. And also, one thing is they are blaming 100% the new superintendent, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. All
He's
I know,
irrelevant.
yeah, he's irrelevant at this point.
His
The
name
problem, we
doesn't
know who he is.
deserve remembering.
But basically, the thing that keeps getting brought up to me by, and as I said, dozens and dozens of individuals. If there's one or two, I'm like, okay, maybe. I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm just going to say that this is my reality. This is how I'm viewing the school district, which is basically if you are a woman in power, you will not be remaining in power in USD 457, which we have been noticing a lot of women in power are the ones that are getting pushed out. So basically, it's a very bro.
How biblical.
It's a very bro friendly mentality that's going on in the school district, and people need to be aware. We are going to go through an education deficit here in the next year. This year, we're going to. They talk about. I remember seeing them talk about all these turnover rates. Historically, we've had between 10 and 15% turnover rate, which is very normal and across the board. That's teachers retiring, that's teachers moving, that's teachers whatever. 10 to 15% is good, actually. But they're claiming that we have a higher one, but we don't. Well, they're just saying it's bad and that it is bad, but they don't say the number and they don't compare it to other districts. Everything that I've seen, I've only seen between 10 and 15%. I will bet money this time next year we're going to break 20%.
Money, people.
Yeah, I'll bet money on this one, but not that much. I'm very poor. I cannot actually bet money. But I bet we're going to break 20% with a turnover rate this year with this new guy, which there is always a slight turnover, but I wouldn't even be surprised if we hit 30%, but we'll find out what the final number is if they report it. But it's going to take a while to get that information because we won't know until next school year and they redo the numbers. But that is my thought process on that. There is this whole, they put the person that they want in charge. That's all I understand. And he is doing something. And if this is what they wanted, it's a problem. So people are leaving in droves, and our community needs to realize that. We will not have the same school district. We've been very good, very fortunate for out here in Southwest Kansas. We've had a very high recruitment rate, in my opinion. After talking about, that's why most of the teachers are from Michigan, also because of the voucher program, which caused things to tank in their districts up there. So, but we yanked them, we got them, and everything was going good. But anyway, so yeah, so keep an eye out for more resignations. Keep an eye out. Listen to your teachers. They don't have an agenda other than they want to work and they want to teach. They've taken a low pay job, some of them decades and decades, knowing where it's going, financially speaking, And this is an altruistic career field. They want to help your kids. They're not on an agenda. These people
Russ
are on an
Russ
agenda.
Tidwell had a really good speech at the legislative coffee about respecting teachers and their opinions, and uh, I wish I would have queued that up. I did not.
I
Um,
honestly, yeah, that's actually in those notes that I had, which I will find with the timestamps. I don't want to listen to it all over again for the timestamps.
but yeah, as I
That is
understand
one,
it, you're
yeah.
going to give us a deep dive on Bob Lewis and that
Yeah,
legislative coffee comments.
yeah. I mean, we can do a quick one, real quick. Let's see. Let's
Yeah,
see if
give
I
us a
can.
little synopsis of what
Little
you're looking forward
synopsis
to.
of it. Let's talk about. Let's show this. So at the beginning of the last legislative coffee, I was listening to this on the road because I drive all over. I cover 150 miles with my business. I never expected dog training to make me travel just like in the car so much, but it does out here in Southwest Kansas, getting to the people that need it.
Everything
But
is travel in Southwest
exactly.
Kansas.
So anyway,
It's only
the
6 hours away. We can drive.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I talk to other traders elsewhere, and they're like, what? But anyway, I digress. Let's get to this little tidbit, because basically he starts off, and I'm just going to touch the first error of his ways, or of his statements here, um, and we're not going to do the entire long-winded speech because it took him 10 minutes to get all of his ideas out.
Opening to a discussion that's been long overdue in this state. It was a compromise bill. No one got everything they wanted, and everyone disliked some part of it.
Oh wait, is this where he says
I
it?
voted for it because I don't believe that perfect should
Yeah.
be the enemy of the good.
Here it is.
Our schools are in deep trouble.
Yep.
Deep, deep trouble. In 2022, testing was done of 10th graders throughout the state and in Garden City. Garden City showed that 90% of our 10th
Bullshit.
graders performing below.
Bullshit. I know exactly what he's
That
talking about.
percentage, many were at remedial levels. On English language, our
I'm just going to stop him there. He basically said that 90% of our students are failing in Garden City, which is bullshit. I know what he's doing. I need to find the exact information. I have not had a chance to. I'm the type of person who likes to talk with the experts in the field. So I don't
Right.
know all the education ins and outs, but I know when I'm like, this one I know is bullshit because I was part of a program with the school district for a number of years because one of the schools got me in, one of the principals got me in as because I was an educator with the zoo, so they wanted me as a representative of the community. So basically they would just explain normal education stuff to me. One of the things is this tiered system that he's talking about right there. He's claiming 90% are failures. There's a tiered system, and I always forget if it's 4, 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever is top. But the thing is, the top tier, that is multiple. That basically states that the students are multiple levels above their grade. In general, you have 5 to 10% in that category.
Right.
You don't have a lot.
I was not there.
And yeah, and then the next tier is just like within one grade level above their what they deem as adequate for that grade level, right?
Right.
And then you have this third tier, which is one from the bottom, and that means meets expectations. That means you are learning what you need to learn by that amount, right? By that grade. The bottom tier is when you are underachieving.
Right.
He took that and said only the top tier, i.e. the ridiculous genius kids that are multiple grade levels above, only those count as actually succeeding, is what he's doing with that statistic. I need to double check a couple things, but I'm 99.9% sure that that's what's going on. Let's see.
Wow.
Greg's chiming in. In my opinion, the ones that recently elected are only on the board just... Yeah. You said that
Well,
before.
Having
I would
kids in the
love
school system
evidence
is always
on
going
that.
to be a motivator to run.
Yeah.
But you should want
Well-
to protect your kids and everybody else's.
Yeah, the
That's
thing is-
idea.
I think I don't know what Greg's exactly getting at, but I think I've heard multiple people say that, like somebody's kid was in trouble or not doing well on something, so they I don't know who it was or why, but so if anybody has evidence on that or can actually expound on that, that'd be great.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just kind of like this vague idea that's out there, unfortunately. And if you want to DM me, I will not say who told me. We could talk more about it that way. But yeah, so this guy, and the thing is, here's the telling thing: the guy from New York voted completely against every other. Even though the others are Republicans too, but I have more respect for our other representatives because they, in that talk when they were talking about that bill, basically said this doesn't do good for Kansas or Southwest Kansas, so we're voting against it. This guy's suddenly, I basically, we know why he's here. He's using Garden City as a jumping point to get higher up in the Republican Party. That's and
Right.
he
Right.
so he's touting the national line. But anyway, so that's that take on the my take on the situation. If anybody else is
And
out
it
there and
gets
wants
so
to chime
much
in, go
deeper
right
than
ahead.
we even have time to get into, and
Yeah,
it's just one of the litany of issues we have facing our community right now.
yeah,
And we have a state legislation that legislature, excuse me,
yeah.
that is hell bent on doing as little as possible. We have a governor
They're after sound
who
bites.
doesn't have the ability to speak loudly and demand progress.
Yep.
She doesn't have a representative body that can bring that voice to her. Um,
Yeah.
I don't see Kansas in a good direction right now, and I'm more I'm, I want to do some more research and do a story on this lithium battery plant. I don't think it's going to
Mhm.
bring the jobs that they think it's going to, and the number of regulations that they do not have to worry about in Kansas is extra worrisome considering this train derailment that happened in East
Yep.
Palestine recently. Those same chemicals would have to be delivered to this plant and probably worse ones.
I think I was talking with you guys once when I did a course called Controversies in Renewable Resources, and I had a group project and we were talking about nuclear waste. And one of the things that we brought up with our thing was that like where nuclear waste is and how it was transported. So we had a full grid map as part of our presentation, and basically there was not a point on the U.S. where you could avoid either a semi truck with nuclear waste going through your community or a train. And I'm like,
Right.
people do not realize how much this is going on all the time. Now, Brandon says the battery plant will bring big jobs. They're already advertising for them here in Johnson County. I mean,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying I want to do some digging on it because there's been a lot of tech firms making big offers to states and not delivering on what they said they would be bringing.
yeah,
So
or they fluff
if it
it with
does, then
because
great.
they count the temporary jobs in with the permanent jobs, and then it looks bigger. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, we'll have to take a. I mean, I don't know I don't know anything about that one, so that would be great to take a look at.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, that's something I want to do a deep dive on soon. I want to talk about recycling in Finney County or the lack thereof.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of things that we to cover still, and we're about halfway through the legislative session.
Yep.
And so when we get together next week, we're going to have to cover some of the loud light topics and look what the work Davis Hammett's been doing out
Hmm.
there.
And hopefully
Um,
they don't double the amount of anti-trans bills again, because they did that in a
yeah,
week.
yeah, and that's their whole goal is if they put 100 of them
Oh,
out there and they get one
I
through,
don't think
fantastic.
we didn't even talk about that. SB
Well, let's talk
180.
about it.
Because we actually bumped just because of the flow. We SB 180 just got passed, I believe, in the Senate, the state Senate, and it was a it passed 80. Yeah, Senate Bill 180 just got passed 83 to 41. That is veto proof. I don't know. I think it still has to go to the House. I'm not sure if it has to go to the House still. I think it still has to go to the House. This SB 180 is establishing the Women's Bill of Rights to provide a meaning of biological sex for the purposes of statutory construction. What this means is, oh, I had it. Where'd it go? Where'd you go? I had you up. Basically, it is the no bathrooms for trans people situation. It is here we go. The exact wording is they can't. It's the they can't go into anything that's designated to bathrooms. They can't go to places where for domestic, if it's a domestic for domestic violence victims, and it's for women, then they can't go if they're
women's shelters.
if they're a woman trans. Yeah, so they can't go to any of those. They basically anything that's designated for women, they can't go in. So this is basically making it illegal for them to use the restroom. This is the anti-trans restroom thing, but they're cloning it like, well, this is taking away women's rights because they exist, basically. That's right. It. There's like nothing actually being taken away from women. It's just these people are now being designated, and now they have. So if somebody is presenting as female, they now have to go into a male bathroom, and guess what's going to happen? Or if they're presenting as male, they have to go to the female bathroom, and then how uncomfortable is everyone going to be now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is ridiculous. And on top of that, this bill makes it illegal in the state of Kansas to document crimes based on the minority of trans. Like it can only be male or female, which basically gets rid of which actually might get kicked out of court because it will go against federal law, which says that they have to keep track of that data.
Well, and there again,
hate crimes.
all these will probably go up against some form of human rights council, ACLU, or something along those lines. And
but if
they might win, but there again, they're just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And then
what they're after right now,
and they're going to throw it again.
You know what they're after right now? Why they're doing that? They're trying to get that. They're trying to get that Supreme Court decision. They're pushing it until they're going to slam it and fight it until the Supreme Court picks it up.
I think you're losing internet.
Oh no! Oh no!
You are choppy.
Uh-oh. How about now? Am I good now?
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, no, they're going to throw everything in. What they're after is trying to get it into the Supreme Court, because right now they have a Supreme Court that will side with them and will overturn various things, including the various rights for gay marriage and things of that nature. So they're just they're throwing spaghetti at the wall to try to get it up to the Supreme Court, and hopefully Kansas doesn't end up on the wrong side of history on that situation. But we'll see.
Any last thoughts?
Last thoughts. Oh, my brain's on fire right now. I'm so angry. Like that last one, I was like, I forgot about that. I want to talk about that. They did that today. They basically just hate our trans brothers and sisters, and for all of the people. Actually, my last thought is everybody in the LGBTQIA plus community. You're not alone. There are straight people that are your allies. We will try to fight for you, and we will. Yeah, that's my last thought. That is it.
Absolutely.
Also, wait, and the teachers. I will also fight and be a voice for you. Well, that's it.
I couldn't say it any better myself. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it, have somebody else watch it, introduce our show to a friend. Let's get our message out there a little bit more. We've got big problems out here. We're trying to get them solved. We're trying to bring attention to them. Appreciate all of you.
Should we do the old Audi? The old Audi?
Yeah, let's do the old Audi.
Old Audi. It'll be the last few until the new one comes in. All right.
But
hit the like.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Wait. I still need a club. Smash the like button.
Smash it.
Follow. All right. Thanks for visiting. Always love anybody chatting with us. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Twit that.
Just test. Well, take a minute to envision it, and the vision deriving from a difference of opinion, inquisitive, isn't it? When the picture in the mirror isn't shit, but give it a minute, fix this image and hit the brick with the viciousness. But don't play, cause one day you'll be saying, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but my shit it just wouldn't drop, cause you wouldn't have, but you're so worried, it was your world. And when you hit them with the rhymes, they had no words. Just come back to the flip of the tongue fun that you once had, and chug it like a beer and crush that. Go shave your mustache and write it down, cut that, and show 'em us rap again.
Oh, 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 I'm getting tired of that. I don't know anymore what they call rap. Getting so you know that something's missing. Let's go show 'em what rap is again.
Like taking a step out of your front door for the first time, and you want more with the sunshine, but you've been locked away, forgetting you don't care who listens is not part of the mission. Just say what you got to say, whether it makes sense. Just a bunch of gibberish, spit from the hip, slipping so sharp, but splitting your lip. You get a grip, cause as good as your shit is, you know it really isn't a big deal, cause it'll turn heads bound too. It's your purpose, round two. But you gotta open your eyes and realize it's right here. But to open your mind, you gotta try to fight fear and find a light bright enough to ignite and excite peers. But get their attention, I find you gotta give them a big boom. You're the fuel, and I got my lighter right here.
Oh, 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 I'm getting tired of that. I don't know anymore what they call rap. Getting so you know that something's missing. Let's go show 'em what rap is again.